It's ruining the neighborhood's aesthetic, she snapped, tapping her clipboard like it was a gavel. The board voted, no dishes over 20 inches and none visible from the street. I couldn't help but grin. Good news then, it's only visible from orbit. She blinked, missing the sarcasm entirely. She claimed it disrupted the visual harmony of the neighborhood and could potentially lower property values. I couldn't help but roll my eyes at the absurdity of it all. I mean, really, a satellite dish. As she rattled off her reasons, I felt a mix of disbelief and frustration. My initial reaction was to defend my right to enjoy my home as I saw fit, but I also felt a twinge of anxiety. You've just installed a satellite dish to enjoy your favorite shows, and suddenly you're met with an unexpected confrontation from your neighborhood's HOA. She's adamant that the dish violates community rules and demands you take it down. Let me take you back to that fateful day when I first encountered the infamous HOA Lisa. Picture this, a sunny afternoon, the kind that practically begs for a lawn chair, a cold drink, and some mindless channel surfing. I had just finished installing my brand new satellite dish, a sleek, unobtrusive piece of technology that blended in with the trim of the house. I was excited. This was going to open the door to a world of entertainment I had missed out on. As I stepped back to admire my handiwork, out of the corner of my eye, I saw her. She appeared like a storm cloud rolling over a clear sky. Clipboard in hand, lips pursed into a disapproving line, and the unmistakable gait of someone who thinks they're walking into battle. Her demeanor was anything but friendly. She had a stern expression, and her tone was sharp, as if she was ready to enforce the rules with an iron fist. You'd think I had committed a federal crime, not just mounted a dish. She didn't even start with a hello. That dish is in violation of Section 3.5 of the Community Visual Standards, she declared. I blinked. That was it. No warm-up, no small talk, just straight to the fire and brimstone. It disrupts the visual harmony of the neighborhood, she continued, as if my home had suddenly become an eyesore in a Thomas Kinkade painting. I couldn't help but roll my eyes at the absurdity of it all. I mean, really? A satellite dish? Her tone made it sound like I had parked an abandoned aircraft carrier on my front lawn. As she rattled off her reasons, I felt a mix of disbelief and frustration. The list of offenses she cited sounded like she had memorized them from a HOA training manual that hadn't been updated since 1994. My initial reaction was to defend my right to enjoy my home as I saw fit, but I also felt a twinge of anxiety. After all, I didn't want to get on the bad side of the HOA. I found myself questioning whether I had unknowingly stepped into a battle I wasn't prepared for. It didn't help that Lisa seemed to thrive on the drama. You could practically hear the Law and Order theme music playing in her head as she scribbled notes onto her form. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a much larger conflict. Living on property owned by the Department of Defense comes with a unique set of regulations and implications that many people may not be aware of. It's not your average cul-de-sac dynamic. First and foremost, DoD properties are governed by specific federal guidelines that prioritize security, safety, and the overall well-being of military personnel and their families. This means that certain rules and restrictions are in place to maintain the integrity of the property and ensure it meets the needs of its residents. And while those rules can seem strict, they often serve a very specific purpose, one that sometimes flies right over the heads of civilian HOA members. One of the most significant implications of living on DoD property is that residents often have access to various military benefits. This can include discounted services, access to on-base facilities, and even participation in community events designed to foster camaraderie among military families. However, these benefits come with their own set of rules, and residents must adhere to the DoD standards, which can sometimes be stricter than those of a typical homeowners association. But here's the twist. In some areas, those same federal guidelines can also override the local HOA's rules, especially when it comes to communications equipment like satellite dishes. On the flip side, living on DoD property can also mean facing unique restrictions. For instance, modifications to your home, like installing a satellite dish, may require special permissions or may even be outright prohibited. This can lead to conflicts with local HOA regulations, as I experienced firsthand. And Lisa, she didn't have a clue. What she saw as a violation was, in fact, a carefully regulated and essential installation. That dish, jokingly nicknamed Skynet by my friends, was locked onto a classified relay satellite operated through a civilian DoD contract. Its removal wouldn't just kill my Netflix binge, it could jeopardize secure communications tied to a DoD initiative. Of course, none of that was public knowledge, and I wasn't about to plaster it on a lawn sign. The satellite dish has become an essential part of my daily life, transforming the way I experience entertainment and stay connected to the world. Whether it's tuning into live military briefings, international news, or just decompressing with a game after work, the dish provides a vital connection point. With a variety of channels and streaming options, it enhances my living experience by providing access to everything from news and sports to my favorite shows and movies. It's not just about entertainment. It's about creating a space where I can unwind and enjoy quality time with family and friends. I remember one particular evening when my friends came over for a game night. We gathered around the TV, snacks in hand, ready to watch the big game. The excitement in the room was palpable, and the satellite dish delivered a crystal clear picture that made the experience all the more enjoyable. Moments like these are what make a house feel like a home, and the dish plays a crucial role in facilitating those connections. We laughed, we yelled at the screen, and we celebrated a win that felt personal, even if our team had no idea we existed. The thought of having to remove the satellite dish was daunting. Not only would it mean losing access to my favorite programming, but it would also disrupt the social gatherings that have become a staple in my life. The potential impact of its removal extends beyond just entertainment. It could affect my overall happiness and sense of community. Losing that connection to the outside world would feel like a significant loss, making it clear just how important that little dish is to my everyday life. When faced with the threat of having my satellite dish removed, I knew I had to take action and understand my rights. I wasn't just going to let Lisa bulldoze me with bylaws. The first step in my research process was to thoroughly review the HOA rules and regulations. I dug into the community guidelines, which were available online, and made note of any specific clauses related to satellite dishes and exterior modifications. This initial step was crucial as it helped me identify the exact language used by the HOA and understand their stance. Next, I turned my attention to the unique aspect of living on DoD property. I reached out to the local military housing office, where I found incredibly helpful staff who were knowledgeable about the rights of residents living on government-owned land. They provided me with valuable insights into federal regulations that could potentially override local HOA rules. During my research, I stumbled upon some surprising findings. For instance, I learned that under certain circumstances, residents on DoD property have the right to install satellite dishes without needing HOA approval, as long as they adhere to specific guidelines regarding placement and size. This revelation was a game changer for me, as it empowered me to stand my ground against the HOA Lisa. Of course, Lisa wasn't taking this quietly. She posted printed flyers titled Urgent Aesthetic Emergency and even claimed my dish was messing with her radio stations. At one point, she told a neighbor that my setup was causing static in her electric toothbrush. Armed with newfound knowledge about my rights regarding the satellite dish, I approached the HOA for a follow-up conversation with a sense of determination. I scheduled a meeting with the HOA board, ready to present my case confidently. I made sure to bring along the relevant documentation from both the HOA guidelines and the information I gathered from the Military Housing Office. I wanted to ensure that I was well prepared to address any concerns they might have. During the meeting, I calmly explained my understanding of the regulations surrounding satellite dishes on DoD property. I highlighted the specific rights I had as a resident, emphasizing that federal guidelines could supersede the HOA's local rules. To my surprise, the HOA board seemed taken aback by my knowledge and the clarity of my arguments. They initially responded with skepticism, questioning the validity of my sources, but I remained composed and provided them with the documentation to back up my claims. Despite my efforts, the conversation didn't lead to an immediate resolution. While the board acknowledged my points, they insisted on reviewing the matter further before making any decisions. This left me in a state of uncertainty, as the dispute was far from over. However, I felt empowered knowing that I had stood my ground and presented a strong case. I left the meeting hopeful that my persistence would eventually lead to a favorable outcome, but I also understood that the battle with the HOA was likely not finished yet. And I was right, because 2 days later, Lisa filed a formal noise disturbance complaint over the dish's motor, which, by the way, is whisper quiet and only runs for 4 seconds at a time. Reflecting on my experience with the HOA regarding my satellite dish, I've come away with several key takeaways that I believe are important for any homeowner to consider. First and foremost, this conflict taught me the value of being informed. Understanding the specific rules and regulations that govern your living situation can make a significant difference when facing challenges. Knowledge truly is power, and having the right information can empower you to advocate for yourself effectively. Another crucial lesson I learned is the importance of knowing your rights as a homeowner, especially when living on property owned by the Department of Defense. Many residents may not realize that federal regulations can sometimes supersede local HOA rules, and being aware of this can help you navigate disputes more confidently. It's essential to do your research and seek out resources that can provide clarity on your rights. Lastly, I want to encourage others to stand up for themselves in similar situations. Whether you're dealing with an HOA or any other authority, don't hesitate to voice your concerns and defend your rights. It's easy to feel intimidated, but remember that you have a right to enjoy your home as you see fit. By being informed and assertive, you can create a more positive living environment for yourself and your neighbors, even if it means standing your ground against someone like Lisa, armed with a clipboard, a crusade, and a suspiciously twitchy poodle. Whether you're dealing with an HOA or any other governing body, knowing the rules can empower you to advocate for yourself effectively. It's crucial to do your research and understand the specific guidelines that apply to your living situation, as this knowledge can make all the difference in resolving conflicts. If this story moved, you don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful tales of resilience and justice. Your support allows us to keep delivering valuable insights and stories that inform and inspire people everywhere. Thank you for watching Work Story, and see you in the next one.